Hey guys, Dylan here. Today we got this 2018 GMC Terrain. This one has a diesel in it. Normally I try to do a job like 3 or 4 times before I'll make a video, so that way I know I'm showing you the best way to do the job. Well, this one is one of those jobs where I made a video because I never want to do the job again. I made a video, hopefully now you guys can just do them yourselves. You don't bring them here. I'm going to show you what it takes to get the transmission out today. I'm going to show you as much as I can. I don't show you every step, but I try to show you as much as I can, and hopefully it's helpful. Thanks for watching. Let's get straight to it.
I'm working on the top of this Terrain. Here's the order in which I remove stuff. There's that stupid thing. I got some tips here for you on how to remove that. This is what the top looks like. Working on the top of this 2017 or 18. This 2018 GMC Terrain. I got this front bolt out of this. First off, there's a disarming procedure you got to do for that, and that bolt came out easy enough. I got the other bolt from down below, and this bolt, I know you can't see it, but I'm on the back bolt. It's got a wire harness on top of the stud. I use my forked fingers to get it off, and I'm using this extension to get on the bolt nut. There's a stud on it. It'll be fun. I'll let you know if I can get it out without removing the master cylinder. Finally got that thing out. You can see where the bolts were. I got that one from below with a short wrench on my fingers. I got that one from above. That one was easy. I just popped that little spring clip up, and that came right off the shift rod. See where that stud is? That's where the back bolt was. That was a pain in the ass. So, and there was also a bolt that screwed this bracket, a little 10 millimeter that screwed that bracket to the back of that thing. So, engineers don't give a shit about us. But I got all my top bell bolts exposed now, so now I know what I'm doing. Remember, there's a reset procedure or disarm procedure for that thing. Took this mount out of the way on the top. I'm probably going to just go ahead and put it back so the motor's hung. You could also put a support across here, but this fender does not look very strong. I imagine you could put it there, but I'm just going to put this mount back in. There's the mount I removed, and I removed that mount bracket. They're all 18 millimeters. There's also a ground right there. That needed removed. It's a 13. And then 1, 2, 3 bell housing bolts. That's where the hard to get to bolt was at. I pulled that bracket off the stud so it won't fight me when I'm taking the tranny out. And I did put the top mount back in just to hold the tranny up. Now I'm going to raise it up and do all the bottom stuff. Hope this video is helpful. 2018 diesel GMC Terrain. See, I got the coolant bottle over here out of the way. I had to unplug the wires on the master is all I had to do. I left the master in. All right, just you squeeze these together to get that off of that oxygen sensor or whatever it is. Squeeze these together and it comes off, and there's a plug. That from my boss was how to get this propeller shaft off. It shows some special tool like a bearing splitter thing hooked to a slide hammer. I just took my air chisel and chiseled this lip right there. There's like a groove. I think you got to do the same thing in the back and then undo these center bolts. I was able to get it out with just dropping the middle, and I left the back on. And spray your ball joint nuts early so they can start soaking, because this pressure wasn't enough. I had to spray them with some PB Blaster. And then they're 18 millimeter. I was working on this rack bolt with a long wrench, and it's just fighting me the whole way out. So I'm gonna go ahead and start dropping the subframe down so I can get a bigger swing with my wrench. It's like doing one little click at a time. It's ridiculous. There's the stuff I removed before the subframe. Wheels and tires. This is from that stupid bracket in the top. Those are lower ball joint nuts. There's a pound of 7mm bolts. This is what the exhaust bolts look like when I was done with them. I had to air hammer them off. This is the rack bolt for the left side. I took the mount off this way. And I'm going to support the radiator and pull this subframe out. That rack bolt out. Alright, sway bar bolts are 10s. We use this air ratchet, now it's down. Up through the bottom of the subframe. I suggest you spray those bolts too. I just got this axle to pop off. I just used my giant pry bar and a tapping motion right here on the meaty part of the axle. Use that pry bar right there. Super long guy. This thing's been steady dripping on me, so before you pull the transfer case, go ahead and take this 11 out. That'll drain the unit for you. Won't drain the transfer case, but it'll drain the transmission. I'm just gonna take this out so it's not dripping on me anymore. Plugs undone. Let's fall out of there. Can you give me a hand? I want to catch this transfer, just help pry it off. Okay. Got it? Yeah, I think so. Okay, thank you. Got it. Fuck yeah. Remove these mounts before the transfer. Those are transfer bolts. I removed the starter. There's one bolt hidden there. This is the setup I use, 1/4 inch. And I took the 13 off the, then unplugged the starter signal. I'm working on torque converter bolts right through that starter hole. Alright guys, I'm turning the crank with this ratchet and an E14. I'm turning it clockwise. I've got one torque converter bolt off, and this is what I'm using to remove them. Is an 18mm and my 3/8 gun. Alright, all 6 of those torque converter bolts came out with little issue. We're E14 to turn the crank clockwise.
Alright, climbing up my ladder. Got my 18. That'll take everything out up top. I need an extension. I got the top mount bracket, and the top mount bracket. Rear line. Got it out, guys. This is what the new unit looks like. In case you have any questions, I removed that start-stop motor off the old unit. I'm probably going to leave it on this one since they gave me a new one. Gotta swap my shifter rod still. Those are the top bell bolts. I got these two with a wrench in the front. The rest of them were pretty self-explanatory. It wasn't too bad. If this bolt's in the rear, you're gonna have to remove it because that's where that stupid bracket plate thing went. So there's where the line went that I took off right at the end. And that's what the top mount looks like. And that's where the ground was. And that's where the top line bolts. All right, guys, anytime you do a unit, you got to make sure there's two dowels. 1, 2. This one has a square cut torque converter hole to center them. Roll that up to there. I'll show you what it looks like. There's the square cut hole right there. That's the first one you're going to put in. All right, guys, my transfer layer was empty. Means I got the transfer installed. Axle's in. Axle's in. Leave this drive shaft out till the subframe goes in. One little tip is put a bunch of grease on those C-clips. It'll help them go in. Like this one has no grease. I'm gonna put a bunch of grease on that before I try to put the shaft on it. Now I'm ready for my subframe layer. That's what this is. So this goes to the top. Other than that, all this is for the subframe. A lot of grease on these C-clips. I mean, just gob it full. I'll go ahead and put this shaft in before this mount. I think it'll be easier. Nope, I'm lying. The shaft's in the way of the mount bolt right here. So the mount's gonna go in and the shaft. I might leave this bolt out so I can push the motor forward a little bit in order to get that shaft lined up with this. I was just installing this stupid O2 sensor wire design. It looks like it goes under the axle, so I had to unbolt this, and it goes under the axle right on top of the frame. That's where that O2 sensor wire goes, just right along the top of the frame rail. That wire goes up over and then around like that. I went ahead and put new nuts and washers on my exhaust because I air hammered them off. I did with save the threads though. Working on going together with the top. I'm just going to read it like a book. Make sure I got my bell housing bolts in. The new tranny came with that. I don't need to worry about that. But as soon as I get those top bell bolts in, I'm going to get my back thing in. That bracket goes on the top bell bolt there.
And I put that stud in off the old tranny because it didn't come with a new one. Make sure you plug in this start-stop motor before you put that deal on the top. I got a jack holding the motor up. This stupid thing's ready to go in. I got all my stuff out of the way. I got my bell housing bolts tight. Got my bracket on in the back with my stud. I got this booster sensor. It's over here out of the way. So, should be ready to go. I'll let you know if I have any issues. Alright guys, back there was a tough to get to bolt. You can see the wire harness that goes on top. I'll zoom in for you. That bolt right there was the hard to get to bolt. But I showed you how I put my ratchet through there to get on there. So I'm going to use a magnet to put the nut on there, then put my gun on there, but you got to make sure this front bolt's at least started. It's not lined up right now. You see, just turned it over so you can see that's where it's supposed to go. And the back bolt for that actually is the same bolt that goes in the back of that. So make sure that bolt's not in your new tranny. And I do that from below. You can see I got a nut and a washer on there. It wasn't easy. Now I'm going to start my other two bolts. See guys, that's where the back bolt is. Just use my little short wrench to tighten it up. So I left the left wheel off till I get this done, and then I'll put the wheel on. See, there you go. That's where the back bolt is on this. I just use a short wrench to tighten it up. The reason I removed this brake wire and the booster switch, that goes right there, was so I could put this coolant reservoir out of the way because the hose goes underneath and I didn't want to take that hose off. So booster switch goes in there like that. That snaps on there like that. And then you plug in the master. Didn't have to remove it. Before you put the battery tray, make sure you put that ground bolt in down there. Alright guys, that 11mm right there is a checker by the driver's side axle. Make sure it's coming out when it's running from there. Should be full. Got this GMC Terrain finished up. It needs programmed if you're wondering.
Hey guys, we got that GMC done. I'm gonna stick a couple videos up over there. Check them out, I'd appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support my channel. Don't forget to hit the like button if it was helpful. Thanks a lot guys for watching. Let's keep them moving. On to the next one.